All right, guys, we are back at Long Island Watches, even though we're wearing the same clothes, and we actually discussed this.
We laundered them.
They just came back from the dry cleaners, and we're wearing the same watches. Actually, we didn't do a wristwatch check.
I changed one. Yeah,
you did, yes.
I did, I'm sorry.
We're back at Long Island Watches. We're going to be talking about Islander watches.
All right.
Mark is going to walk us through all about Islander watches. Give us a history, why you started the brand.
Perfect.
Everything you want to tell us about Islander. Then we're going to go through some of the watches that we have, all of the watches that we have on the desk. But first, we're going to do a very quick wristwatch check.
Oh, okay. So I'm still promoting my Marathon Navigator. For their first White Dial Navigator, it was a special edition collab done with me, Islander. Their first time using blue tritium tubes, so it was kind of cool. Happy with that. And then I did change my watch. I am now wearing my dad's Datejust on my other wrist.
Right. I'm wearing a watch that I cannot pronounce.
That's okay.
I don't know how to even say the name, and I will put the name down at the bottom of the screen.
That is so cool.
Because I can't pronounce it. And actually, the person who is making the watch said that we came up with the name that no Americans could pronounce.
Perfect.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a good marketing tactic.
I don't know if that's a very good marketing tactic.
I'm going to have to take some marketing lessons from them.
But it's a really cool watch. I think it's a really cool watch, and I'll throw up a picture of the watch so you can see
that
what I'm
is
talking about.
Really cool.
It's really cool.
It caught my eye immediately. My store, LongIslandWatch.com, I've been selling the SKX, I was selling the SKX 007, which is a Seiko model, for a number of years. And it got up to the point where it was a very large revenue maker for me. We were selling upwards between the 007 and 009 J models, K models. We became basically one of the destinations, forget in the world, definitely in the United States, but almost in the world to get your SKX from. And I was selling upwards of like 3,500 or so a year. And I gotten wind from Seiko themselves when I was in Basel in 2019 that they were looking to, not that they were looking, they were. I heard from the person directly who made the decision that they were sunsetting the SKX. So I heard this. Now it's been, man, since 2016, 17, that rumor was flying around.
Yes.
And one of the drivers of that, by the way, was the 7S26 movement, which was inside, was also being sunsetted. But oddly enough, they still have a couple of watches in their lineup that use the 7S26, so there must be a stockpile somewhere. But anyway, so I heard that, and my heart dropped. And I was like, well, how am I going to make up this big revenue hole that's sure to happen, once the supply runs out? Because sure, the SKXs were around until probably 2021-ish or so, as people ran through their supply. I saw at the time that Seiko showed me the 5KX that was coming out. That following fall. And I realized that they were sticking with hard lax, push-pull crown, 100 meters water resistance, not a sapphire crystal, not a ceramic bezel, jingly-jangly bracelets. But they were going to colors and everything else. And I applaud the 5KX. I think it's awesome. I love what Seiko's doing. They're invigorating the youth into buying watches.
But it's not a diver's watch. It's a diver-style watch.
It's not an SKX person's watch. I won't say guy's watch because women wear
definitely.
SKX as well.
It's a nice watch. I agree with you.
It's a nice watch.
It's a nice watch.
It came out in the late 90s and it had a 25-year run, which is actually about, in Seiko land, that's actually a pretty long run for a style. So I just knew immediately. So on the train back, I wasn't staying in Basel. Actually, I've never stayed in Basel. I was going back to Zurich. Okay. And I was on the train back to Zurich and I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I was like, oh, you know what? I don't know why. I was like, I'm going to make a watch. So that's it. That was how the ISL 01 and 02 were born. I said I'm just going to basically make an SKX watch because the cases were out there already for the aftermarket. Mm-hmm. Aftermarket cases were plentiful, and it didn't take much to pop in an NH36, a dial, hands, bracelet, etc., and manufacture the watch in bulk. And that's what I did. It was the SKX that people wanted because for a couple of years prior to this, I was selling inserts, crystals, dials, bracelets from Strapcode. The SKX was like the Honda Civic of the modding community. Yep. So I was like, you know what? Let's just make the watch from the ground up, put in everything that people want, and we'll go from there. And that's how the brand started. I just thought it was just going to be another, brand to sell. I didn't really think it was going to be what it eventually became. I mean, Ryan just told me the other day, we just reserved number 265. ISL there's 265 or something. Yeah, we're way up there, but this one's actually still made. And, I could do it affordably, selling for about $300 or so. And that was that started it all. And then from there, we were off to the races.
So it's basically the demise of the SKX, which is what's responsible for Islander. It's probably one of the best things. You thought it was going to be a bad thing, and it turned out to be one of the best.
You know what they say, when one door closes, a window opens, or the window closes, the door opens. This is like the whole house when one opened for me. This was the best thing that ever happened to me, for sure. Always darkest before the dawn, I guess. In the original one, they were Seiko inspired. I did turtles, I did samurais, and I still do some samurais just because people want them. I do monsters because people want them. But you got to give people what they want. If you don't, you're an idiot. And I don't think I'm an idiot. So this was the SKX. I guess just in kind of like a progression. I don't know much of a progression. This was something that we did. This just came out a year ago. This was our Sands Point. So by the way, also all the watches eventually, starting with the Bayport, started being named after something to do with Long Island. Whether it be a town or an airport or something like that. So this was the Sands Point, which as you know is a town on Long Island. And this is a titanium, blasted titanium diver with and you'll get it in your B-roll, but the dial has waves on it.
Yes.
We made it a bunch of different colors, black, blue, green, full lume. And it was just awesome. Super lightweight, beautiful, but it's an SKX case.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of picking up on the SKX and doing more stuff with it and keeping it fun. Adding color, going lightweight titanium, which is super cool. Then we came out with a titanium bracelet for it that matches it perfectly.
It's like something that the SKX never did.
Yeah.
Seiko never did it, but you guys...
Harnessing, being small, we're very agile. Right. And if we want to do something, we can, do something and we can do it really quick and we can have it to market in a couple of months. Whereas, a brand like Seiko, Citizen, Bulova, and their promos are already planned, 14, 16 months out into the future. Whereas us, it's, at this point with the brand progressing, where, we look out to like April or May, which is actually much better than I used to be.
Right.
I'm still fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. This is a Mitchell, named after Mitchell Airfield, which was an airfield on Long Island. It's a field watch, 39 millimeter field watch. And what I did with this guy is it's powered by an NH36, which is another Seiko movement, but we've got the day and the date aperture at the bottom. I call it the day T. I trademarked it just in case. Trademark everything, by the way. If you're starting a business, trademark everything, please, because then someone's going to take it and poop on you. Yeah. People want the Rolex day date, the full day at the top, and then and it's just, there's no movements out there really that do it well. There was the ETA, 2836, I think that did it, or 2834. They had a full day, but they're just so hard to come by, especially in affordable movements. So I did something where we reprinted the day wheel. So there's no second language. So the day goes that way and the day below it. Anyway, but this is a full DLC, $229 or something.
Great for full DLC. DLC a little bit
full
more.
deal, not PVD. That's DLC.
PVD is a little less
resilient, if you will.
Yeah. PVD is a little cheaper as well.
Yes, it is.
DLC is more expensive.
It sure is. Yeah. So we do the Mitchell in a whole bunch of different colors. This is the Northport. This came out. I want to say this came out. In summer of 22. And this was, I believe you met Ryan when you were here once visiting. So this was his design. He started to take over a lot of the design of the watch. The Sands Point was his. And the dial, we started to really work with do dial work. It's a slender diver. It's powered by a Miyota 9015, so that's 28,800 beats per hour movement. It has it takes 8 times a second, blah, blah, blah. Full brush on the bracelet. But the beauty of that was really that the dial itself has the ripple effect of the ocean, and then the gradient from seafoam green to white, and this has just about become a bestseller for us. The Northport collection itself, but then this dial, this colorway in particular, just became super duper popular. It's something that customers, you can go ahead. Yep. Customers regularly ask for it. It's a sapphire bezel, full lume. It's a beautiful watch. I own it in blue, and I own it in the green. So I love it. I
like the bezel that it sort of coordinates with the dial.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really
we
nice.
popped this on a different style bracelet that normally comes on. Just we were playing with some different stuff. But
Would you say this is a 62 Mas style?
this is a 62 Mas style case. It's a hair thinner, but actually the bracelet will fit a 62 Mas.
Okay.
It's a hair thinner than them, but it's around the same price. No, it's actually much cheaper. These are $429. It's a hair thinner, but around the same size dimensions and stuff. So I'll hop over to another 9015. So this is the Brookville. It's a 38 millimeter dress watch. These are also powered by a 9015. We started to do things like plate the rotor, put our name brand on them. We've been experimenting with different clasps. This is an abalone dial, which is made from, the animal, the sea animal.
Abalone, yes. Abalone shell.
Yeah, abalone shell.
Is beautiful.
It's super. Every single one is different.
It's very fitting for Brookville because Brookville is
Yeah.
It's like a dress watch, right?
Yes,
You would call
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what going. When we name the watch, we kind of think about it like, what are we thinking? We're thinking dressy, high society, and this and that. So that's why we kind of went. It's a mashup pretty much of a Datejust and the Sarb 033.
Okay.
It's kind of what we were inspired to do. And, this watch is not running. This watch came with, I probably do like 10 different dials at this point with it. But just really popular. And then we made the Upper Brookville, which is a larger case size.
Okay. Brookville, I believe J-Lo lives in Brookville. Or
Does she really?
Or does she still
Well,
live in
maybe
Brookville?
she's
She
from-
did at
maybe
some
she was
point.
from there.
She lived in Brookville.
lived there.
She moved to Brookville. It was like a big deal because she apparently lived in Brookville for a period of time.
Who knew?
I don't know with Marc Anthony. I don't know if it was that period of time, but
She didn't tell you? She didn't call you?
No.
We've done now, this is our third iteration of an assembled in the USA wristwatch. So if you follow me, you know that I went out to FTS, which is in Arizona, Fine Timepiece Solutions. They are building wristwatches in the USA. Not made in the USA, big difference. There are companies that are trying to get to made in the USA. It's a tremendous undertaking to do it affordably.
Sure.
But these are assembled in the USA. I did a field watch, I did a diver, and now this is our Amerigraph. I call this the Beth page, named after where Grumman was when they did the lunar lander, because it's kind of Speedy inspired. I put a little lunar lander etching on the clasp.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and a lot of people said this was kind of weird, but I did a display back because it's a gold tone plated movement, but then you get the coils, the green and the reddish wires and stuff. I thought it was really nifty looking.
I think it's awesome. I think more brands should display case back
Why not?
on quartz watches.
People said, if there's nothing moving, what's the point of seeing it? I'm like, well, it's actually pretty to look at.
I mean, you only see it when you take it off your wrist.
That's all this stuff, right? Yeah.
I like a display case back on anything, and if you put it on a quartz movement,
You're happy.
I'm in for it. I like it.
I had customers that put transparent case backs on their quartz Islander divers. And there's really nothing. That was just a plain like steel, nickel plated movement. And you like to see. You like to
I
see
do it
it
on vintage. I have vintage watches that I've put display case backs on them
because you like to see it.
Yeah, I like to see it.
We're all about this stuff. And that'll bring us to the last two. These are both NH34 powered watches. The NH34 came out a year and a half ago, or maybe almost 2 years ago. Seiko came out with it. NH34 is Seiko's answer to the affordable GMT. There was never, I shouldn't say not never. The only affordable GMTs were made by like Seagull, Tianjin, and the quality of those was kind of suspect. So when Seiko came out with the movement, and then later Miyota with the 9075, the whole GMT game blew open. And of course, like anybody else, I hopped on the bandwagon. So this is a Calabro, which is Brookhaven Airport out east. Another name it's known by. I started naming stuff after airports because I'm flying, getting my pilot's license and stuff, so I thought it was cool. It's a world time bezel, but then what I did was where New York traditionally is on the bezel, I put Long Island. So it was kind of my little nod to Long Island, but it's a traditional pilot's watch. Comes in a bunch of different colors and
degradé dial on this one.
Yeah.
Little orange accents, crosshair. Well, it's not a full crosshair, right? It's like a...
No, it's like a partial. It's left to right, like a horizon indicator almost.
Yeah. And a little jet on that second hand, which is...
Yeah, it's kind of like you can see what you want. You know, you can see airplane wings.
Yeah.
I like to leave it up to the Delta Wind Formation. I like to leave it up to the viewers.
This is really cool. I really like
it's a
this
pretty cool watch.
I like this a lot.
That came out really nice.
And so, what'd you say? This 40 millimeters?
These are 40, yeah,
40, okay.
40. And then, so that's a Calabro. This is a JFK. So named after the airport. It's funny though, because we call JFK the airport. We know if you say JFK, you don't think the president. So many people that aren't from like Long Island, New York, they hear JFK, they're like, well, why is it named after the guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, it's the airport.
Right.
I was going to call it the Ottawa originally. Ottawa was the original name of JFK Airport before it named after the president, but I'm like, that's too obscure for people.
No one's going to know.
No one's going to know what that is.
But only New Yorkers are really, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Yeah. So, but this is how, it was, again, this was another Ryan dial. Design, and it's a cloud dial, and they almost look like croissants. But it's a puffy cloud dial. We're doing it in blue, we're doing it in gray, we're doing it in a whitish, and again, it's just super cool. I mean, GMT, head in the clouds kind of thing. Just beautiful. I love the blue. Oddly enough, the blue is the slowest selling.
Really?
I'm a tremendous blue fan. Yeah, there's another one, gray. We call it dark and stormy. It's like stormy skies. That's just, we got it back in again for the second time.
And that one's selling better.
Still selling. Yeah, it's still out selling.
I really like the cloud dial, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like the blue 24-hour chapter ring, and then
yes,
the hands. Almost when you have it on the table, it looks like the sapphire crystal is almost tinted blue.
Yes.
It's not though, right?
No, it's not. I think we went clear AR on these, so it's just the throw off from the chapter ring and stuff.
Pretty cool. That's really cool.
And this one we went with a steel bezel. The other ones are sapphire. But I just thought, or we thought, I should say, steel just accented against the dial better.
Yeah, and I also noticed, this has 200 meters of water resistance.
Yeah, almost everybody does. So, like, basically every watch I do, except for this one, is a screw down crown. So even this is 100 meters of water resistance. That's a field watch, but it's a screw down crown.
Right. Screw in case back, screw down crown.
Everything.
Sapphire crystals.
I have yet to use anything but a sapphire crystal. Yeah. Yeah, and again, just because it's, after selling watches for 20 years, I kind of know what people want, and that's, again, the impetus, for the brand. Obviously, the brand was born out of the SKX disappearing, but I know what people want after selling watches for 20 years.
It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway. Awesome showing us these watches. Thank you for having us here today and showing all these watches, and hopefully we can come back in the future.
There's lots more to come.
And you want to tell us a little bit about the future, or
I can bury some leads, I guess. I do have a Miyota 9075 coming out. It's actually done. It's actually here.
Ooh.
It's actually it's in the warehouse. It's finished. A couple more GMTs coming out. But we're trying to develop our own DNA, so to speak. I'll always do SKX type watches simply because they still go. Day in, day out, they sell. But we're trying to develop a little bit of our own identity now with different designs and stuff, and trying different things. And as you can see, like, we're trying to really be known for dials. These press dials are just, they're amazing. We did a blue birch dial, which to me is phenomenal. It just looks amazing. So just, again, develop our own thing and try to, I don't want to say break away from Seiko, because that's where our roots are, but, kind of get our own thing going.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe we could get a sneak peek at that.
Well, after the cameras go off.
All right, thanks, Mark. Again, thank you for having us, and thank you for showing us all these watches. I'm really glad that we were able to make this happen, and hopefully we can do some stuff in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be good.